go. And start to get settled. Let's take a breath together. Let's shake off anything else that might have been going on this morning or up until your point this day. Whatever that may be, so find that inhale. Really breathe it in nice and deep. Use that diaphragm as you breathe in. Take a big exhale. Maybe you sigh it out, letting it go. So good. And take another one. Finding that nice big inhale breath. Letting it go nice and fully when you get there. Beautiful. Starting to just sense into the senses and find that starting off position, whether that be seated or lying down. Background music. Start to notice the body and the breath and how they work together. Can you feel the link into the mind as well? In today's class, we start out with a bit of movement to kind of wake the body up. And then we'll settle into some more deeper stretches, trying to soften, let things go. Maybe you start that already here as you scan through the body, starting to observe and take what you need. Starting to see maybe any areas of aches and pains. Having some compassion. And maybe it's not even physical. Maybe you're feeling a little more blue than you usually are. It's usually the point in the season where everyone is at least a little bit more vitamin D deficient than normal. A little more deprived to your regular schedules and routines. And you're just tired of all the darkness outside. It is starting to get a little bit lighter, a little bit earlier. Stay a little bit lighter, a little bit later. But starting to notice that power within. What is it that you rely on to help get you through? I like to call them little moments of joy or little bits of hope. When you place your hope in. It's strong enough to pull you through, keep you going. Maybe setting an intention. Maybe your intention today is hope. Maybe it's joy. Maybe it's compassion. Or maybe it's something totally different. Like stretching a little deeper, feeling into the feels and finding that edge. Whatever it may be, to be true to you. Seal it in with another big breath. Let's come into that full inhale. Nice full exhale, let it all go. Start to find a little bit of movement, little wiggles through the fingers, little wiggles through the toes. Waking up the body, maybe start to roll through the wrists and the ankles, or just find slightly larger movements, whatever that might mean to you. Maybe you start to roll into the elbows, maybe you bend the knees and plant the feet if you're laying down. One thing that I love about these yin yang classes is I've been in a number of them from other teachers. And there's such a wonderful spectrum. Sometimes they're totally gentle, and sometimes they're a lot stronger, so it kind of has that freedom to go either way. So I give you the opportunity to build the class up as you need it, and to take it more gentle as you see fit. Finding a little bit more movement. We'll take one good morning stretch. And just to start off here, take that inhale and reach it up nice and tall overhead, whether you be seated or laying down. Just start to stretch upwards. Feel that length of the arms. And take that exhale, let the arms rest, either just a bend to the elbows or hands towards that heart center. Beautiful. And if you're in a seated position, let's roll things back and down. Laying down onto the mat. Feeling that spine connected with the earth. If you're already there, great spot to be. Let's take another good morning stretch here, but this time really start to notice those arms and the shoulders. As you sweep those arms up, maybe try to keep the hands on the ground as much as possible. Feel that little rotation that happens. Probably your elbows up lifted as you're reaching all the way up. That's a-okay. Keep reaching so nice and tall. And see if you can really feel this through the rib cage and through the torso. If you want a little more here, extend the legs and point through the toes. See if you can feel this through the hips, the knees, the ankles, and the feet. All of that little bit of space getting a little bit bigger. Excellent. Keep holding for one more breath here. Stretching, reaching so nice and tall. Maybe you link the thumbs and gently pull one hand and the other hand a little bit higher. Take that exhale. Let it all go. Soften. Start to hug those knees in towards the chest. Coming in, that gentle rock from side to side. Oh, so good. Feeling into that low back. Maybe into the shoulders. I'll start off with a little bit of a twist here as well. And so either just bringing the knees right over the hips, reach those arms out wide, left and right, and drop the knees down to your preferred side. Knees don't have to come all the way down. You can even keep them up or have the feet just planted. If the knees do come all the way down, maybe you extend the legs, finding a bit of length. The head can drape over the legs. You can gaze in that opposite direction, feeling that twist go right from the tailbone through the hips, the rib cage, the shoulders, and also through the neck. Beautiful. Finding just a little bit of softening. Bring the head back up towards center, always keeping it in neutral position first. Maybe you release the bind and bend the knees. Swing or bring those feet back up through center and drop them off towards the other side. Maybe the hand drapes over, maybe you extend the legs, maybe you gaze in that opposite direction. Taking just a breath or two here. Letting both shoulder blades try to stay rooted down. Feeling that twist through the body. Imagining maybe that rag being wrung out, giving all those internal organs a nice little squeeze. And bring that head back up towards center, releasing the bind, a little bend to the knees, feet swing up. Excellent. Bring the hands to the back of the legs and work on extending the legs upwards. Maybe pedal out one foot and then the next. Just waking up the back line of the legs, getting into that hamstrings. Maybe you feel it through the glutes or low back. I've got a really big pedal happening. I'm really drawing one knee in towards the body. So I extend the other foot upwards, really stretching that heel up towards the ceiling. Just starting to feel it through the calf and the hamstring. So good. Waking up into the hip joint, waking up into the legs, and let's bring both feet pressing up. Oh, so good. This is a great one for a strap. If you want to lasso the tops of the feet, just that little bit of feedback, makes it almost feel like you're standing on the ceiling, or you can just hold the back of the legs, and helping it be a little bit easier, relieving those hip flexors and lower abdominals from engaging as you get into that lovely stretch. Let's find a bit of openness here, maybe working with those inner thighs. As you draw the feet apart, your choice on the distance, maybe it's just a few inches, or maybe really press the feet open. Maybe you switch the hands to the inside of the legs, just adding in that little bit of weight, so not yanking at the legs, but just feeling that extra little engagement. Keep pressing the heels outwards, keep that gentle little flex of the foot. Beautiful. And bring the feet back up towards center. So good. Bend the knees and let's plant the feet. Planting the feet a little wider than you normally would. Take it just a gentle windshield wiper, dropping kind of one knee down, and then the next. So with the feet a little bit wider, I'm trying to focus in on that rotation of the leg, getting a little internal rotation and external rotation. So both knees can kind of drop at the same time. I'm trying to focus on that knee that falls down and inwards. I'm getting that internal rotation. Just trying to sense into that a little bit more. You can accentuate that even so by the little press of the hip upwards and gets the stretch to happen more into that hip flexor and into the quad. Maybe you hold for an extra second. Switch over towards the other side. And just letting that knee fall down, pressing the hip up. Oh, beautiful. And coming back towards center. And let's make our way up to a seated position, either rolling yourself up or rolling onto your side, pressing yourself up, however you want to get there. Whatever is comfortable. Maybe legs are extended long. Maybe you have crossed legs. And try to stack those shoulders right over the hips. Let's get some nice posture happening here. Taking that inhale breath to draw the crown of the head up, nice and tall. Take that exhale, roll those shoulders back and down. Notice those lower ribs, are they puffing outwards? Can you just draw them in, drawing everything nice and tight towards that core. Remembering to still breathe, so still feeling the inhales and the exhales. That's beautiful. Taking just a few little breaths here. Maybe even bring a hand just above the heart, and then a hand onto that abdomen area. A little check-in with your breath here. See if you can just move the top hand. So engaging into the lungs fully, feeling that inhale and kind of feel that hand rise up. And exhale. Feel that hand come back down. You still have that full posture, but as you take a big breath in, you feel the space of the lungs of the breath. Beautiful. Let's try to get both hands working together now. So starting to engage that diaphragm. Breathing in, you can feel the bottom first or the top first, it doesn't matter, whatever's more natural for you. Finding that full breath, feeling the space in both hands. Lift and exhale. Both hands kind of come just a little bit more together. It might be really subtle. And taking another big breath in. Big exhale. And then we'll come into that Buddha breath or that diaphragmatic breath, just using the bottom hand. So trying to not feel the lungs expand, but it's all about bringing the breath into that abdomen space. So see if you can take that inhale, press just that hand out. Take that exhale, feel it come back in. And take a few of these here, almost 5 or 6 or 7 of them, really just to work with that diaphragm breath, feeling the breath go in and out. This is the breath that really starts to stimulate that vagus nerve, that fight or flight nerve that gets into that parasympathetic nervous system. It's a large nerve. It does lots of things for the brain. And using the breath can help switch things. So maybe you feel that here, maybe you feel the body just engage. Beautiful. Let's take 1 or 2 more, depending on the rate that you're breathing at, trying to maybe slow it down a little bit. Feeling that inhale be full, and that exhale be slow. And then feel the breath start to return to normal. So not controlling it anymore. Maybe breathing back a little bit through the lungs, but maybe noticing to see if that diaphragm is still just a touch engaged. And release the hands. Check in with your mind. I think oftentimes, especially as we work with that breath work and the hands on the body, did you embrace the touch? Did it feel good? Or was it self-conscious? Was it too awakening? Was that mirror a little too close? And take a moment, whatever judgment you've had and released it, just let it go. Come back to that neutral. Maybe start to let the eyes flutter open if they close down. We'll take another big breath. We'll use the arms to sweep those arms up. Inhale, nice and big. Exhale, draw the hands to heart. Coming back into breath, but now using movement to engage with it. So those inhales really sweep up. Those exhales draw everything in. You can do this a little bit passively just with the shoulders, or you can really start to expand and reach up. Exhale, draw things in, little bow. Really press those fingertips out as you reach up, almost adding in a little bit of resistance. Maybe press the hands together as you draw things in. Finding that nice activity, taking the more, taking the less as you see fit. Beautiful, 2 more. Last one, wherever you're at, start to meet with the hands back at heart center, nice firm posture. Let's switch the feet, opposite foot in front or on top. If you got the legs extended, just stay as you are. Coming back, take that inhale to extend the head upwards. Exhale, shoulders really relax, let the jaw relax as well. Take that inhale, reach those arms up overhead, get into that side body as you reach over towards one side. The elbows can bend for more gentleness, or reach long for a little more intensity, or even up towards the ceiling, rolling that top shoulder open. Beautiful, keep holding here. Press the legs down, find the strength through those obliques and through that upper body, and start to come on back up. Keep those arms overhead, either bending through the elbows for that gentleness, or take that extra reach even here. See if you can get into the side body, feel that rib cage expanding upwards like you did in that good morning stretch, and then over towards that other side. Nice and strong, core is engaged here. Maybe you dip over a little bit more, maybe you press those legs down, find another breath here, and drawing the ears far from the shoulders, maybe gazing up towards that ceiling. Beautiful openness, so good. Keep holding and come on back up. Nice big reach up. Take an exhale, find your fold, let everything relax. Maybe just a gentle little fold. You can bow things all the way down. You can even lean forward and bring the head down onto the ground. Whatever you want. Yes, my sits bones came off the ground there. One more nice big breath here. Let it be audible. Hear the inhale. Take a big exhale. Walk the hands up. Run up towards that nice seated position. Spin things around, coming into that all fours position. Planting those hands under the shoulders, knees underneath those hips. Beautiful. Taking just a little sway from side to side. Press the hip out towards one side, and then to the other side. Waking up into the side line of the legs now. So good. To the other side. Beautiful. Then one more. So good. Press it out. Other way. And come towards that nice neutral. Let's tuck the toes, press into the hands, into the feet, send the hips up, take a little downward dog here. Pedal out the feet, find some movement, find your stance. If you prefer puppy pose, you can drop those knees back down if you would like. Get a nice back bend. Really press into those arms, send the hips up nice and high. Whether the knees be lifted or the knees be down. Taking another breath or two here. And starting to wake up. Maybe into the arms and shoulders, into the spine and back. If you're in downward dog, feel it through the back line of the legs. So to maybe feel it through the hamstrings and through the calves as you imagine pressing those heels towards the ground. They do not have to come to touch, but just feel that stretch happen. So good. If you're in puppy pose, start to reactivate into the hands and arms and send those knees up. Looking forward to the top of the mat. And take a hop step or a few little steps to find your forward fold. Letting the head hang heavy. Give the head a little shake now. Release any tension there. Maybe you alternate bending between the knees. Getting more into those hamstrings. Take another 2 rounds of breath. Head is below the heart. Maybe you feel those little spaces between the vertebrae getting a little bit bigger. Just with that pull of gravity from the head and shoulders down. On your next inhale, just come up halfway, move slowly. Maybe planting the hands into the legs, roll the shoulders back and down. Extend that head nice and long. Beautiful. Bend the knees really deeply and then press all the way up to standing. Take a nice big sweep upwards and stretch. Reach it up nice and tall. Exhale, hands towards heart. Beautiful. Take a full breath here. Connect with the inhale. Connect with that exhale. So good. And one more nice big inhale. Nice exhale. Nice and strong here. Start to feel that core engage. Strong mountain pose. Pressing into the heels. Pressing into the toes. Imagine that strap around the knees. Activating that side line of the legs that you're just pressing out into. Little tuck of the tailbone, core is engaged. That inhale to get taller, that exhale. Shoulders roll back and down. Maybe hands float alongside the body. Maybe they stay hands in prayer, your choice. No wrong answer. Just feel the strength of the body here. As you also find the stillness. Maybe you close the eyes. Maybe you notice that little sway or little movements that still happen throughout the body. Maybe you just simply feel the nose breathing and the movement that happens there. Beautiful. And on the next breath, we'll take an inhale and sweep the arms up. Breathing in, nice big stretch up. Length the thumbs, have the palms facing forward. Find a side bend here, standing side bend, reaching over towards the right. So getting that left side a nice stretch. Keep the feet planted nice and strong here. Still really good. Maybe the hips stay over the ankles, or maybe you really press that hip towards the left, going deeper, feeling it in. Beautiful. Reach arm back up towards center. Maybe you switch which thumb is in front and reach over towards that other side, maybe towards the left. Nice big stretch. Getting into that beautiful side body. Legs still strong here. The power is coming from the legs and the glutes. Beautiful, nice reach. Maybe press that hip out just a bit. Come on, back up, reach up, nice and tall. Exhale, hands to heart. Step that left foot back, coming into a warrior 2 position. So that left foot, toes towards the long edge of the mat. Right foot, toes still pointing forward, kind of a side lunge. Deepen that stance. Hands can hang out on the shoulders, on the hips. Taking a little bend through that right knee. Trying to find some openness through that left hip. So notice where your shoulders are. Are they pointing more forward or off to an angle? See if you can open them up, pointing them towards that long edge of the mat. That'll shift the hips as well. Keep pressing that right knee back. Beautiful. Locking the legs nice and strong. Maybe you reach those arms out for a little more, finding that nice stretch. Excellent. I love a good warrior 2, pressing into the outer edges of the feet, nice and active. Beautiful. Let's extend through that right leg, nice and long. Not locking the leg here, but find some strength into it as you press, press, press. Send the hip towards the left just a bit, coming into that triangle pose as you reach forward. Find that side body stretch here as you reach a little bit more, and then let that hand drop down and support you, pressing into the leg. Rotate that left shoulder just a little bit more open. Maybe you reach up towards the ceiling, or hand can hang out on the hip. So good. Drawing the ears far from shoulders, starting to feel something through that right hamstring. Leg is still engaged, still working hard here. Beautiful. Left hand starts to drop down towards that leg. Holding things down. Beautiful. Add a little bend to that knee. Maybe you press the hands down towards the ground, or you can brace yourself on the knee as you spin that knee towards the long edge of the mat, coming into your wide-legged forward fold. So maybe you hang out here, embracing yourself on the legs, deep bend to the knees. Maybe you lengthen through the arms and reach down for the ground or for the legs. However you'd like to be, let the head try to hang heavy, no tension. So even if you've got the knees bent, the head can still release here. You've got the hands on the ground. Maybe you walk the hands forward. Maybe you walk them forward lots, almost like you're crawling, and you find that puppy pose, pressing in. Just a nice stretch for the back. Maybe walk those hands back up. Maybe walk the hands back behind you, gazing behind you, letting that head drop down a little bit more, almost creating that little bit of a pull sensation. Come back towards that neutral. Maybe you find a bit of movement here, starting to bend from one knee to the next. So even if you're up a little higher, you can still get those movements in. Walk your hands from one side to the next, finding that stretch. Feeling that openness in the hips. Maybe you start to pulse it out on one side a little bit. And a few pulses on the other side. Bring the hands towards the back of the mat. Really accentuating that stretch through the right leg. Option to stay here and really just push that pinky edge down, feeling a huge stretch through inner thighs. Or maybe you start to bend that left knee even deeper. Either coming up onto toe stand. At some point, those right toes will want to flip upwards. You can work with the balance here. Bring hands to heart. Still beautiful stretch for the inner thigh, for the leg. A nice hip opener. And if you've got the toe stand, really press in. See if you can get those shoulders right over the hips. Excellent. Take that exhale. Bring the hands back down. Start to drop that foot down as you extend that left leg, coming back towards neutral. Bend through the knees. Make that little shelf for the elbows to plant in on. Roll those shoulders back and down. Extend the head long. Beautiful. It's coming up halfway. Maybe now you plant your hands just above the knees, coming up a little bit more. You can press the knees open, finding a bit of a little goddess if you want more stretch, or you can just hang out and then come all the way up. Can't help it, I need to stretch it out. Take that star pose, reach it up. So good. Exhale, release. Beautiful. Just spin those left toes towards the long or the short edge of the mat. And coming into your warrior two, right toes down, pointing towards the long edge. Bending through that left knee. Hands to heart. Pressing into the legs. Finding that strength, taking that side lunge, feeling that openness to the hips. You may really be noticing that now. Getting into the legs and the body. Reach those arms out if you want a little stretch. Maybe you really reach. Maybe you gaze towards the left. Keep pressing that left knee towards the back. Keep trying to roll that right hip open. Taking another breath here. Find that inhale. Take an exhale. Maybe you bend a little deeper as we take one more breath. Taking that nice inhale. And exhale. Lengthen through that left leg. Keep pressing into the legs nice and strong here. So not hyperextending, but see if that leg can be as active as possible. You can kick that hip out towards the right as you reach forward. Reach. When you can't reach any further, then drop the hand down to stabilize. So even if you're up top, or if you reach down for the ground, gazing up towards the ceiling, letting that shoulder be open. That's what we're trying to do by gazing up towards the ceiling. Ears are far from the shoulders. Legs are still strong and pressing. Nice big inhale. And an exhale. Start to drop that hand down, gazing forward. Still strong through the legs. Maybe you feel that more through your hamstring than through your inner thigh. Beautiful, bend through that knee. Maybe you plant the hands down and start to spin the toes towards the long edge of the mat as you come back towards that wide-legged forward fold. Or you can come back towards. You can bend through the knees and drop the hips down if you would prefer. You can get dizzy easily. Maybe that's a better option than letting the head always be below the heart. Maybe you reach for the big toe here. We're finding a way to anchor on so whether you hold the back of the thighs, the legs, reach your ankles, or even tuck the fingers underneath the feet. Just feel that anchoring in. Maybe you add a bend to the elbows. And trying to get the crown of the head aligned down. Feeling those sits bones press up towards the ceiling. Maybe here you release the feet or release your bind and you reach for opposite elbows. It's another way to kind of add in that weight towards the head and the back, embracing that dangle. And release the hands. You can start to add that bend in from side to side, feeling into the hips. Maybe you do it by walking the hands slowly over towards one side, slowly over towards the next. Even if you're up high, you can still do this whole little movement. I'll show you what that looks like. Maybe you pulse it out on one side. Add a little pulse to the other side. Then bringing the hands over towards that right side of the body. You can start to drop the hip down and spin those left toes up. So even if you're up high, you can still get into that beautiful stretch. Or whether you come down and come lower, you're just trying to feel it through that left leg. Maybe work on bringing the hands up. Trying to get those shoulders right over the hips, pressing firmly into that right foot. Little ninja pose. I'll start to release that, pressing back down. And starting to lengthen through that right side, coming back towards center. And that bend to the knees, plant the elbows, make that nice little shelf. Maybe aligning head with heart, or head just above heart. Still rolling those shoulders back and down, creating lots of space through the spine. Beautiful. Bring those hands onto the legs now, coming up a little bit more. You can press the knees open, spin the toes out. You want just a quick little goddess pose here. You can press all the way up. Take a nice big stretch up. Nice big reach. Then exhale. Release the hands to heart. And looking towards the front of the mat, adjust the toes, and step forward. Take a nice big inhale and reach up nice and tall. Take an exhale, take a forward fold. How does it feel now with the feet together? Take an inhale, halfway lift. Just to lengthen through that spine. Keep that length as you bend the knees. Plant the hands down. Take a nice big step back. Extend those arms nice and long. Hips up towards the ceiling. And then drop the knees nice and wide. We'll take a child's pose. Swing either back on the heels, or if you prefer puppy pose for the back bend, you're welcome to take either or. Noticing the breath. You're breathing in just the lungs and the diaphragm, just the diaphragm. Start to send that breath a little bit lower. Nice, big inhale. Nice exhale. And work towards slowing things down for the last portion of class. Reaching those hands forward. And if you're ready for a little variety, maybe start to bring either the elbows in closer to the knees. Maybe even bring the hands reaching back, or even onto the small of the back. You can just rest on that low back. Maybe give yourself a little low back massage. Maybe you interlace the hands and get a little shoulder stretch. Or just let those fingertips press towards the toes. Taking another inhale, another exhale. Releasing the hands, bringing them back underneath the shoulders. And starting to press up. Coming towards seated with the legs extended. Moving slowly. Extending the left leg, bring the right knee in, coming into that half butterfly. Maybe the sole of the foot connects with the inner thigh, maybe it doesn't. Try to balance those sits bones and activate into those left toes. So we continue to work through the hips and the legs. Try to stack those shoulders right over the hips. Take an inhale, reach up. Exhale, align the shoulders with that extended leg, and exhale, bow down. I love to reach a hand across the leg just to help keep my shoulders aligned. But however you want to hold on works for me. The forward fold is trying to target that back line of the leg. So into the hamstrings, the glute, maybe into the calf. And keep that flex to the foot if that feels really good. We'll take about 5 breaths here. So start to let the body settle and soften. Notice where you have the tension. You squeezing those shoulders and relax them. You have lots of tension in the hips. Can you feel the tension through the glutes? And you start to release that. Using that exhale to really let things go. Want a little variety here. Maybe you start to add a point to the foot, starting to stretch out to the top of the ankle and into the shin. Taking one more nice big inhale. And full exhale, soften. On the next inhale, start to straighten through the spine. Move your rising up about halfway. Beautiful. And then just start to walk the hands through center and over towards that right side. Maybe you frame through that left knee. Maybe you go just a touch past and melt the body down. either using any bolsters or props that you'd like to, but kind of finding something to rest on. I love to just rest on the leg here. Maybe come down onto forearms. Maybe hold the head under the chin or under the forehead. You have a bolster, you can lay the bolster there and then press your arms onto the bolster. And just noticing what the left foot is doing. Maybe practicing a little bit of non-judgment. Maybe you don't correct anything, you just do it. Or maybe you feel the need to correct it. Planting that right arm down a little more. Maybe that left hand starts to come onto the hip. You find some openness, stacking shoulder over shoulder, getting into the side body. Hand can hang out on hip. You can reach up towards the ceiling. Or can even reach overhead, feeling that stretch right from the fingertips down through the body, across the hip, all the way down to the toes. Maybe you point those toes again. Reach back up to ceiling and come down onto hip. And roll those shoulders forward as you plant both hands down. Walk yourself back through center. And come on back up. Take a nice inhale. Send the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. Exhale, relax those shoulders back and down. We'll release that left leg, just starting to slowly add a bend to it. Either bringing it up towards the body. Maybe plant the hands behind you and take a little windshield wiper. Maybe you bounce out between the knees or just windshield wiper at the feet. It's your time to release the pose. What do you need? You need lots of opening through that left side. Maybe you really notice the difference between left side and right side. And giving a little opportunity for that rebound, the return of blood flow and energy to return to normal. Taking another pose or rest just in that pose you found. And we'll come back towards seated, getting into that other side. So now that left leg bends in, right leg extends. Either off towards the side, maybe just a little off to the side or a lot. And find those sits bones and get them resting down. Sit nice and tall and strong, roll those shoulders back and down. Take an inhale, reach it up, find a stretch here. Exhale, align those shoulders and take your bow down. Maybe reaching that hand across the leg to help keep that collarbone in line with the foot. Maybe bring those right toes up towards ceiling. And take what you need here. Start gentle, so even if you start way easier than you think, and over time, just kind of inch and crawl. The shoulders more down. It's a great way to approach any yin practice. Noticing where you feel it here, checking with the shoulders, checking in with the jaw and the muscles through the face, and also checking in with those hips, seeing if you can soften. Taking those 5 to 7 breaths here. Add a flex to the foot, accentuating that stretch, feeling it through the calf, feeling it through the back of the knee maybe. And maybe you mix things up. In Can you add that point to the foot? Starting to feel it through the top of the ankle, just activating the stretch more through the top of the leg. Take one more breath here, breathing it in deep. And exhale, softening, let everything just go. On the next inhale, let's rise up halfway, rolling shoulders back and down. And then starting to walk the hands through center. Maybe framing through the knee. Maybe just a touch past. If you want to keep going, if you like that, we've got some openness there, you're welcome to keep it going. Maybe this is your more open side or your tighter side. And then bow things down. Maybe coming down onto forearms. You can stay up on the hands, or you can even plant forearms on the knee. If you don't have that bolster, this works too. Maybe add that tuck to the chin. Start to notice the right foot. Maybe you practice that non-judgment, or maybe you automatically correct it. Bring the toes up towards ceiling. Start to plant that left hand down a little more. And then right hand starts to float up, stacking shoulder over shoulder, hands on the hip. Maybe you just gaze up towards ceiling here. Maybe you start to reach it up. Maybe you reach it overhead, stretching through that side body. Maybe you point through the toes. Feeling it right from the fingertips all the way down the edge of the body, down to the big toe. One more breath here. Start to reach back up to ceiling. If you're reaching overhead, drop the hand back down, framing through that knee, rising up halfway. Come back towards center. And walk the hands up, shoulders back over the hips. What do you need to release? You just even lean back from here and extend both legs long. Grab and shake at the feet. Maybe add a little bounce to the knee, or maybe you just need some stillness. Maybe you just roll those shoulders back and down, and gaze back behind you. Maybe you add in a little wiggle at the shoulders, or you bend the knees and plant the feet and take that windshield wiper. Trying to, as gently as possible, make your way down onto your back. So starting just to lay down back behind you. Letting that spine connect. Your knees can bend, feet can plant if you need that, or legs can extend along. And just take a few breaths here, letting that spine recorrect. Maybe you roll those shoulders back and down, find that little tuck at the chin. If you're ready for Shavasana, you are welcome to start to settle into that final pose. I usually always finish by hugging my knees into the chest and taking a little happy baby. So if you're also used to that with me, you're welcome to work towards hugging those knees in. I love it. It helps reset the spine, especially if you add a little resistance. So just pressing into the hands, slightly pulling into the knees. Take a little tuck of the chin. And reach the hands through the knees for the feet. Coming in that nice happy baby. Feeling maybe the openness of the hips and drawing those knees in towards the body. Whether that be towards the outside of the shoulders, towards the armpit, wherever you want to bring them in. Maybe you add a little rock from side to side. Maybe take a little moment for a freestyle. pose or movement you need to take. Lots of times people love to extend the legs long here, or one leg long and then the next. We've done lots with hamstrings, so maybe you really notice some openness that you have. Shoulder stands are great things to add in here. Or even just your waterfall pose, feet up towards the ceiling, holding onto the backs of the legs. If you have any props or blocks, supported fish is probably one of my favorites. Supported bridge comes in at a close second. Whatever you need. Maybe you choose one of these poses for your final Shavasana. Starting to settle in and let things go. Whenever you're ready, you can find your Shavasana. As long as it's comfortable, maybe you create a little bit more space. Maybe you unclench the teeth, creating space between the teeth. Maybe you relax the eyebrows, relax the shoulders. Taking a few breaths just in this final pose, this final Shavasana, letting everything settle in. Noticing what there is to notice. Taking a big breath in. And a big breath out. If you feel you need more time in your Shavasana, go ahead and extend it. But this is where I'll leave you. Letting the breath be the first movement in awakening the body. Feeling that full inhale, the head expand up. And that exhale, everything draw back in. Adding on maybe a few more movements, little wiggles of the fingers and toes. Wrists and ankles. Maybe roll onto your side, take that little fetal position, or take a good morning stretch. In that fetal position, bottom arm is a great pillow. Gentle bend to the knees. And then starting to press up towards you. Eyes can stay closed. You can find a little mark to focus it on. Hands can just hang out on the knees of the legs. And take an inhale, get nice and tall. Exhale, roll the shoulders back and down. We'll finish class by taking a deep inhale that exhales out anything you no longer need by sighing it out or releasing it, however. And getting ready, big breath in. And exhale, let it out, let it go. Bring the hands towards heart center. Always finishing off with a little bit of gratitude and appreciation. Thank you for joining me and sharing your practice and letting me guide you. May the rest of your day be filled with joy. May you always be blessed.